Untitled Jake here with my next unboxing of a new Target exclusive blaster from Busby and their Aero Warriors lineup is the Mutator. This, of course, is one I was looking forward to most, being as it is a huge bolt-action spring-powered double magazine-fed blaster that reminds me a lot of the Snipe, but with a lot of innovations. And, of course, the most obvious being that it has two magazines. Now we're going to go ahead and get this thing out, but first of all, I'm going to mention this is going to be showing up here at the end of July at your local Targets and on their website for a retail price of $34.99. That was the information provided to me directly from Busby. And what do you get with the blaster? You get the blaster itself, two magazines, 10 Precise Pro darts, and 10 of their long distance darts. So it's enough to fill both magazines. And we're going to go ahead and get this thing out. It claims a 100-foot range, and much like I mentioned with the Agitator, we will be doing a separate range test video to see if we can hit that range. So far, with every other Busby blaster in the market, I've actually been able to attain the range that they claim, unlike Nerf. We're not going to get into a Busby versus Nerf here, but I already fully expect that this will be able to hit that if it has anything similar to the power of a Snipe. And I will be doing a comparison between those two at some point. Well, let's go ahead and get this thing out of the package. Okay, now that it's out of the package, we want to take a look at the Mutator. You got your tray of, what's included, of course, is you get the Mutator itself, the two magazines, and your tray of 10 of each type of darts, plus a highly useful owner's manual. I'm going to set these darts and the manual aside for now so we can focus on the blaster itself. Now, everybody's going to be interested in how does this system work. And if you haven't seen any videos showing this before, here's how. You prime the blaster backwards with the bolt action, and then you select a magazine. Right now we're in the rear magazine by either extending or compressing the barrel. And as you see, it's got a clear window on both sides of the blaster here. That itself is neat. I love seeing the mechanical inner workings of any kind of machinery, and that's neat to have that panel on both sides, not just one. Wonder who in the world I'm taking a stab at there. It's actually got colors on both sides of the blaster and a clear window on both sides. Nice touch. But you can press the barrel in to use the forward magazine, and then to use that you would actually then close the breech and pull the trigger to fire the blaster. You want to switch magazines? Slide the bolt back, pull the barrel forward, and it pulls this magazine down and lifts this magazine up into place to where the breech will scoop up a dart from that magazine now. Now, looking at the actual ergonomics of the blaster, that is a big chunky grip that definitely fits my adult hand well. It gets small up here to where it might fit a child's hand still, even though this is a big blaster. Something to keep in mind. When we get to the final opinions, I'll show me holding this, and you're going to get a good feel of how big this thing really is. And it does have a removable stock that has a different feature than normal. As you see, that is hooked. That is that's a unique design from Busby. It actually hooks in, and then you pivot it to put it in place. And surprisingly, it looks a little short, but it's not. Again, I'll go over that on the final portion of this video. And it does have a foregrip here. And again, bolt action, like the Busby Snipe or the Predator. And that's actually one of my favorite things. It has a very long draw and sounds like going to have some decent power. But we will take this outside and do a firing demonstration to show you what it can do. So we'll go ahead and cut to that here in just a second. Here we are for the firing demonstration portion of the video. I am going to fire 5 Precise Pros and 5 long distance darts, which of course would be half the loadout with these magazines. And we're going to see, as always, the holly tree here in the backyard is around 65 to 70 feet from where I'm standing here at my back porch on the railing. I will rest this to fire a few level shots, and then we'll throw some angled shots out there just to see, because back ditch is about, from this point, is about 120 feet. So if it gets anywhere close to that, then we're pretty confident with that 100-foot range claim. But again, I'll actually do a proper range test of this blaster here in the coming days. So here we go. I've got the long distance darts in the front magazine loaded, ready to go. We'll fire a couple level, and then we will fire a few angled up, because these things go basically everywhere. And Angled up. That hit the tree and fell. Let's go out here. That went decently out there. And let's do another angled one off the side. That's pretty far out there. We will have to switch magazines now. So we will pull the barrel out and swap the magazines. Get another shot of that. I just like that action. Okay, now we're switched over to the Precise Pros. Again, we'll do a couple of level shots. And those are going nice and straight. Throw a few up angled. Going out there quite a ways. That's probably at least an 80 or 90 foot shot, which is what it claims when firing the Precise Pros. And here we go again. Yes, that's definitely got some good range to it. We'll go back in and I'll give my final opinions on this thing, and we'll go from there. Going back to give my final opinions on the new Busby Air Warriors Mutator. I am actually fairly impressed with the mechanism. I shot it quite a bit, both outside during the firing demonstration and over my chronograph to try to get some good results. I had a bit of an issue with the huge barrel lining up with my small airsoft chronograph, but I've never had any malfunctions. The blaster works simply by, when you have the bolt action open, you can move the barrel back and forth to select which magazine you want to fire from. I had no issues with it having any jams or malfunctions when I switch magazines or when I slam the bolt home and fire. The blaster is big and comfy for an adult. It would be a problem for a small child to hold, because me as a 5'10" adult male, this fits me. And while the grip is very comfy for me, I have lots of room for my hand, the foregrip is actually very nice, and you can actually wrap your hand all the way around it, and the stock is of reasonable length for an adult. All these features are going to make this huge blaster a lot for a smaller kid to carry around. So I definitely think this is going to be geared more towards teens and adults, not for the small kids. I have other blasters like the Tactical Storm that can suit them. And now I mentioned the chronograph. I did actually end up averaging, after firing a couple hundred shots, I averaged in the middle to upper 80s on velocities using both the included long distance and Precise Pro darts. So well above the standard Nerf velocity of 70 feet per second. That's pretty good. That's not quite on the level of, say, the snipes behind me, but I have a feeling they had to make the internal mechanism a little smaller, like the plunger tube and whatnot, where you get your power. I believe they had to make that smaller in order for all of this mechanism to fit into what's already a huge shell. But I didn't have any problems with this blaster, and that's what I was looking for, because I do feel that this was probably complicated to put together a mechanism that actually worked and kept a powerful system while allowing you to have two magazines that you could quickly go back and forth from by switching there, and you can pull the barrel back and forth, but I also found that just by gently feeding the magazines in, you can switch the mechanism around. Just don't slam it home, I wouldn't think. But gently and firmly, you can easily push that mechanism just from there. And this gets the idea with me of having two 22-round worker magazines in there for massive ammo capacity. And when you're switching out the empty magazine, you can top it off while still being loaded in the other one and ready to fire. So you're never actually down. So you're playing Nerf war, whether in the backyard or actually in the competitive setting, you're never completely run dry on darts. You can always have something ready in the barrel to fire while loading the other magazine, getting it topped off to keep going. Basically never ending. That's the key point to this. And while it may not have the extreme power of the Busby Snipe behind me, it still is a decently powerful blaster. And that mechanism here keeps you going without stopping. That's what makes the Mutator unique and a definite recommendation for me. Now, you can find it here at the end of the month. End of July is when they're targeted to be released at Target. No pun intended, but it is going to be exclusive there, running at a retail price of $34.99. I do recommend this blaster, and a long-term test will prove whether it holds up, but so far no malfunctions in my use of it. So that's the one thing I look for in any blaster. Does it work exactly as it should, straight out of the box? This does, and provides above average performance in a comfy package with a extremely unique feature. And that's something you can't beat. This is Mongoose Jake with my review, or initial review, of Busby Air Warriors Mutator. It's available exclusively through Target at the end of July. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed it.